We're back in the chat room with dietitian Dawn Jackson Blatner, the author of The Flexitarian Diet, and we're talking about genetically modified foods. Do you eat them? Do you even know if you're eating them? I think that's one of the questions. There's a huge movement right now to try to label these foods. Whole Foods is on board with that. Over the next couple of years, they're going to do that. But let's talk about it. What are they, and are they safe for you and your family? Dawn is here to discuss it with us. Hey. Hi, Dawn. So tell me, we all try to feed ourselves well and, try to be healthy. Is this something that you're concerned with, genetically modified foods?
First, what is it? Genetically modified food is basically where you take a crop and the DNA is changed artificially. So it's something is inserted, something is taken away. So it sounds sort of scary, right? It's like, oh my goodness. But there are advocates. People like this stuff because it makes plants stronger. So they say, oh, it gives more yield to the crop. Oh, we'd have less pesticide, less insecticides that we have to use because these plants are stronger. On the other side of the coin isn't this unpredictable? That this is only 20 years old. This is a new science.
So you really don't know.
Hey, let's slow the horses here. And so the unknown factor is really what scares people. Now, major groups, so like the USDA, FDA, EPA, everybody's coming up saying, you don't have to worry, it's safe. But here's my point.
Okay.
I want it labeled.
You want to see it so you can make informed choices.
Exactly.
But let's talk about it as we bring Suzanne and Rochelle back in, because this is so interesting. When you look at the worst offenders, you see that this is in everything. You've got corn, soybeans, canola oil, sugar beets, and that 80% of processed foods have GMOs in them. Won't we just be labeling everything?
But we would probably be labeling a whole lot of stuff. But here's what I would say is information is power, right? So if we're voting with our paychecks, right, and we are trying to buy more of the non-GMO foods, then processed food companies will make the shift. If people don't find it important, then it'll be as is.
Right. Do you guys buy them? Do you watch out for this?
I totally watch out for them. I just taught a nutrition class for my running club, Kingdom Running Club, on Saturday, and I was talking about organic, because people believe that when something is labeled organic, it is automatically non-GMO, and that's not true unless it's 100% USDA certified organic. Then inherently it should be non-GMO, because you can buy. There was one girl who said, "But I buy this USDA organic sausage or beef." Yeah, so the meat itself could be, but what about the casing? That animal could have been fed with GMO-laden corn.
Gosh,
and so
it's
you have to, it is confusing, but knowledge is power, and to her point, we do need to know. We're teaching a class on reading labels next, and I certainly agree with you. I would love for it to be labeled.
Well, I would love it too.
Yeah, and at this point, if you really are trying to avoid GMOs, like doing 100% organic food is an option. The issue though is that organic foods can be expensive, and people, I mean, 9 out of 10 people aren't eating enough fruits and vegetables as it is.
And I
so
think
you prefer that.
What's confusing about it is I'm going over this list. My husband and I stopped buying meat a few years ago and stopped eating it, and so we buy tofu instead. And soybeans are on the list, and then zucchini is on the list.
Yep.
So there are all these things that you think when you're at the grocery store, okay, I don't really need to worry about labels when I'm buying a vegetable, as long as I'm buying something that looks good, it's labeled organic. No, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So those things are very scary, and even scarier, we probably won't know for 20 years what the effects of these foods are.
I want to ask you about that, because I try to make informed decisions too, especially now with my baby. I have to make I go get organic milk, even though it's twice as expensive.
Right.
And then later I wonder, is that really where I should be spending my money? Are there certain foods that you should buy organic and certain ones you shouldn't?
Yeah, so organic isn't necessarily a matter of safety as much as it is like personal opinion. And so where do you buy these organic things? Like produce-wise, anything that is going to suck a lot of pesticides, go organic. So it would be things like kale, spinach, lettuce, celery, cucumbers, apples, strawberries, blueberries. I love those things organic because those are going to have and harbor the most pesticides. Things like maybe avocados or watermelon, I don't spend money on because I'm not eating the outside of it.
And
Right, that's what I said.
What's the rule you're trying to point out here?
Well, generally, if you're not eating the skin, you don't have to spend the extra money.
That's what I
going
tell.
organic.
That's what I tell my runners. That's exactly what I tell my runners, because we do have the question. It is expensive to eat organic. Some like bananas, you peel. If you don't eat the skin on apples, quite frankly, I don't like the skin on apples, even though I know that's where all the nutrients are.
Yeah.
I peel them. If I'm going to juice my apple and make a morning juice, then I will use organic apples. And so I grocery shop bank, for lack of a better way to describe it. I am a flexitarian in terms of the way I eat. I balance what I eat and how I eat and what's organic and what's not in order to try and have an overall healthy lifestyle.
And I think, isn't that a great point? Because you don't want to scare people. Like, there is a lot lot going on in our food supply. But the bottom line is variety will save our life. You know,
I
so
love that.
the
I
idea
love that.
of, you know, sometimes I'm going to have soy, sometimes I'm going to have organic turkey, sometimes in a restaurant it's not organic. So I'm going to try and have variety
Yes.
to really form the foundation.
We're all going to turn into flexitarians now. Are you in, Susanna? You
I
in?
am. I do wonder though, with all the kind of the rise and incidence of inexplicable diseases that we have right
Yeah.
now, you just wonder if this could be one of the culprits. So
Yeah.
you know, but there's no way to really protect yourself from it because they're everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
decreasing processed foods, increasing whole foods
Yeah.
is one sure way
One
to
sure way.
try to get everything straight.
Don
Yeah.
Jackson Blatner, thanks for joining us. The Flexitarian Diet is your book. We appreciate you jumping in here with the chat room.
Excellent.
Dr. Mona is going to be back talking about statistics that claim 20% of teenage boys have ADHD. Are those numbers true? And are doctors